Hi and thanks for tuning in. My name is Fred and I'm the image engineer, and today we'll be discussing the Orton Effect technique. The Orton Effect was developed by a surrealist landscape photographer called Michael Orton back in the days of film photography. The Orton Effect is essentially two images stacked on top of each other, one in focus and one overexposed and out of focus. When layered on top of each other, the two pieces of film produced a single photograph that was simultaneously sharp and blurry, thus creating a soft glow effect to the image. Alright guys, so now as you can see we are in Photoshop and we've got our image ready. I shot this on the east coast of South Africa in the Transkei during a beautiful sunset with the sun setting behind the camera. Got a bit of motion blur here on the water between the rocks, and yeah, it's really pretty scene. So I've already done my basic retouching on this. I've removed a few dust spots in the clouds, a few dust sensor spots and I've done basic color correction, and I've added a sharpening layer as well. Now I'm basically ready to start with the Orton Effect. So going back to the beginning where I described the Orton Effect is basically two images stacked on top of each other, one being in focus that we've got right here, and the second photo being out of focus and overexposed to create that soft glow look. We've basically got the foundation right here, so let's go ahead and create that second image by duplicating our layer, and we'll call this the Orton Effect. And we're going to head over to our filters panel and go to blur, Gaussian blur, and I think 35 is about good. It's good midway. I don't want to do it too much or too little, but I think 35 is a good kind of mid-level selection choice. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and then I'm going to go over to my opacity, and I think a good selection of about 15 should do the trick. Normally I think a good rule of thumb is not to go over by, I think, max 25. If I just hide that, you can see it. It's quite dreamy already. It looks like I've got a bit of Vaseline rubbed over my lens. Yeah, that's way too much. So let's go back to 15 and check it out. That's a bit more subtle. So the next thing is that this secondary image needs to be overexposed as well. So let's go over to our adjustment panels and select our curves. Let's hook our curves onto the layer directly below it, which is the Orton Effect, by using that little button there. And let's just create a nice little curve there. I'm just going to add a bit of contrast. There we go, that's it. I think that's just down to personal preference. You know, you don't have to do it that way, but this is the way I prefer to do it. And yeah, I think that is pretty much it. You know, you don't need to do much more than that. I just want to group these two together, and then we can really just see the difference. If you look at your water especially, it really looks even more blurred. It's almost like it's emphasizing that blur on the water while also adding details to it. And speaking of details, the sharpness layer that I've added in the beginning helps retain those details. So if I were to switch off my Orton Effect and my sharpness layer, this is basically the starting point of the image. If I were to switch on my Orton Effect layer only, it's quite blurred. I mean, there's still detail. If you can see on this rock, there's still detail there. But now check what happens when I switch on my sharpen layer. Boom. Suddenly you've got a lot more detail to play with. because I added the sharpness layer before I added the Orton effect, and it's just a simple high pass filter. And it just retains the detail from the original image, carries it over, but then having the Orton effect below it helps give that soft glow to it, and just helps those textures and the colors just kind of blend better within each other. And there you've got your image. And I mean, if you tune into Instagram right now, you'll probably see a million images just like this, with that dreamy kind of landscapey look to it. And yeah, this is pretty much how you achieve that look. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Catch me on the next one. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and hit that like button. And I'll see you next time.